Ink-a-dink, 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 ink-a-dink. Wow!
Okay. Thank you, producer. Good evening. Welcome to Basil BuddhaCat Presents. And we're doing another one of our cat news segments. And what do you mean you don't see me? Oh, okay. Okay. Well, my Scottish tartan had apparently covered over my necktie, which, of course, as the audience knows, cats see red best of all colors. So sometimes when I don't have a red necktie on, I have to go get one because Basil starts looking around trying to figure out if I'm actually here. He hears a voice and he's not quite sure where it's coming from. But nevertheless, tonight, Cat News is doing a continuing coverage of the Scottish Referendum for independence. And reminder to the audience, screw Fox News in parentheses, here comes Cat News. Okay. Now, so tonight's the big night. Scotland is voting in a referendum, a special referendum, which was allowed by the British government. Prime Minister Cameron allowed it. Apparently, he could have stopped it. Parliament could have stopped it, but it's allowed to go forward. And Prime Minister Cameron is banking on the possibility, the likelihood he feels, that the referendum will not pass and Scotland will remain part of the, as it were, British Empire. But first of all, Basil's told me that we've got some definite call-ins tonight, and he says secret callers in. He says, but we're going to blow the cover off that secret very quickly because we're going to identify who's going to call in. We have three prominent callers in. We have from the hereafter a fellow by the name of Robert Burns. We have from Tinseltown, we have Mel Gibson, who of course played Wallace in a movie about Scotland that you might recall. And we have also Denise the Celt. Now, Denise the Celt is someone we met on, I think it was either Godfather Politics or Patriot Update, or one of those whacked out right wing blogs that talk about all the evils of President Obama and liberalism, and which of course is synonymous with communism. Liberalism, communism, progressivism, fascism. Figure that one out. Fascism and communism. Yeah, sure. They think it's the same thing. So at any rate, so here we go. We're going to start off with a poem from Scottish hero of all heroes, and this is coming from the cat of all cats. And Basil, are you related to anyone in Scotland? Okay, Basil says, says, actually, the only reason why Robert Burns is considered to be the hero of all heroes of Scotland is because when he was alive, he actually had 15 cats. And all 15 of them at the time were known in Scotland's folklore as the cats of all cats. So Basil is... are you descended from any of them, Basil? Basil says, well, he's flicking his right whiskers and twirling them a little bit around counterclockwise. So that lets me know he's considering the question, and he'll get back to me on that. So at any rate, so here's the poem. This is from Robert Burns. Oh, would ere I had seen the day that treason thus could sell us. My old grey head had lain in clay with Bruce and loyal Wallace. But pith and power to my last hour, I'll make this declaration. We're bought and sold for English gold. Such a parcel of rogues in a nation. Oh, okay. Okay, go ahead. Okay. And I'll say this first for the cats in the audience, both here and at home. And quick reminder, as we've said many a time, to you kids out there, that you need to learn to speak the language of your house cat. Why? Well, here's why. Because there are more households in America that have cat as their second language than there are households which have Irish, Portuguese, both the Portuguese and the Brazilian varieties, Spanish, any of the Spanish varieties, all of the Spanish varieties combined, Polish, German, Hebrew, Yiddish, any of those languages as second languages in the household. Oh, did I forget Italian? Basil likes me to remind me about Italian because Basil was actually born in Catania. And how did you get from Catania to Bethel? It says via Norwalk. Okay, that explains that, I guess. Anyway, so we're looking for the election results, and we're going to title this show "To Be or Not to Be a Part of the British Empire." And I see on our notes there's actually a fourth, as yet undisclosed, caller in, and we're just going to go on with the coverage. You haven't got any results in yet. There are 32 separate areas of Scotland that are voting, and of course some of them are more urban. Cities like Glasgow and Dundee, Dunbartonshire, North Lanarkshire, that more voters probably, we're suspecting, based on how things go in the United States, probably are going to be more likely to vote for independence than some of the more outlying areas. Moray, Argyll, Dumfries, or is that Dumfries? Basil says no. There's no McDonald's or Burger Kings there yet. Highlands, Inverclyde, Aberdeen. Aberdeen's a fairly sizable area in terms of population, and Edinburgh, likewise. Okay, okay, that's our first call-in. It's coming in on the Nickelodeon phone, the middle-sized phone, so that means it's a fairly important... thank you for calling Basil BuddhaCat Presents, our special Screw Fox News. Here comes Cat News Edition. Okay, says he's only going to call back if we take the call on the big Cat in the Hat phone. Okay, give it a try. Okay, we'll let you go, and you can try us back, and we'll see if it comes through on the big Cat in the Hat phone. Wait a second. That's usually the phone. That's usually the ringtone for when Elsie calls. Well, yeah, big phone. Let's see. Hello, Basil BuddhaCat presents. Basil, it is Elsie. Elsie, do you have any skin in this game of this Scottish referendum? Is there anything about it that piques your interest? Okay. Okay, Elsie says, not really, just wanted to test the phone out. Okay. Yeah, we're thinking about you, Elsie. How are things out in the ranch? Okay. Elsie says she had an invasion attempt of the farm out in Colorado by frequent caller-in of the Basil BuddhaCat Presents Cat News, Ted. I'm letting everybody... Yeah, okay. Ted, come on. Come on, in unison. Well, it was kind of soft, but... Yeah, Ted Nugent. Ted apparently got out of his... away from his stockade, and was able to get out through the moat that he has around his compound, which of course involves, he's got the moats lined with Vaseline, so it's a tough one to get in or out of. But apparently he got out, and Elsie had to chase him away. Okay, now, has anybody in the audience heard the story about cat scratch fever? Okay, yeah, Basil wants me. Okay, Elsie, do you mind if I mention that while I have you on the line? Okay, apparently cat scratch fever, which is Ted Nugent's, for lack of a better word, anthem, is actually about him having sex for the first time and contracting a bit of an illness from that experience, and which he defines as being cat scratch fever, which is, look it up, it's an actual illness, it's an actual condition. But now at the time that Ted had his first sexual experience, he was 10 years old, and he hasn't exactly come clean with us yet as to how old his that first partner of his was. But we think based on what we know about the situation and reading between the lines of the song "Cat Scratch Fever," that she probably was about 8 years old. So that's conservative, libertarian, Tea Party hero Ted Nugent, hard at work. Okay, thanks for calling, Elsie. Okay, so. Okay. Again, the big phone. Let's see if it's our caller in from before. Basil BuddhaCat presents. Okay. This time it's Tweety. We've not received a call from this character before, and when I say character, I don't mean it in a ill-defining way, but the character calling in is in the Star Trek movies. And, okay, yep. Tweety says, it's Scotty. Okay, Scotty. Are you really Scottish? That's, I guess, the first question we'd like to know. And Scotty answers, yes, he is. He is really Scottish. That's not a fake accent. Well, truth be told, he says, he is Scottish, but it is a fake accent because he was born in Scotland and moved to the United States at the age of 2.5. So he kind of lost the... Okay. So Scotty, do you have any skin in the game, so to speak? Any relatives in Scotland? And again, we get the all too familiar response. Hoping to get it from all our callers, and I'm certain we won't. But Scotty says nay. Okay. Thanks for calling. Okay. So we've got the results coming in, and there are 32 distinct areas of Scotland that vote, and some of them, as we mentioned, some of them are more urban, and some of them are more rural, and we're figuring that probably, if it follows the same pattern as the United States, the more conservative areas of Scotland, the ones that are going to vote to remain part of the British Empire, are probably going to be the more rural areas. So we have results in. Okay. We don't have numbers, but we have percentages. All the votes are tabulated in the following areas, and I'll give you those areas and the percentage for and against independence from Great Britain. Okay, starting off with the slithery Moray. Moray has voted in favor of remaining part of the British Empire. That's to say, their vote was no, or nay, by a percentage of 57 to 43. Now, keeping in mind that polling in Scotland prior to the election put the expected number percentage-wise of the final tabulation to be somewhere in the 54 to 46% range overall of people voting no, and that's to say to remain part of the British Empire, and 46, the smaller amount, the minority of Scottish people, Scottish voters, will be voting yes to secede and become their own country. Okay, now we've gotten Moray in, and we have it as 57 to 43% in favor of remaining part of the British Empire, or a no vote, if you will. Okay, now we've also got another one coming in. We've got Argyll, and colorful area of Scotland, and patterned after much of Scotland. And we don't have numbers yet in terms of numbers of votes, but we do have, and I'll refer back to Moray. Moray, we've got 83% of the 83% of the voters in Moray actually went to the poll. Well, that puts the United States to shame. Okay, Argyll is in. Argyll, very similar numbers to Moray. 58% in favor of staying part of the British Empire, and 41% voting to secede from the British Empire and having Scotland as its own country. Now, this is a little different than the United States in that these 32 regions, we could call them states if you want to make a comparison. These 32 different regions of Scotland, they don't vote independently. There's no electoral process like in the United States. A vote is a vote. So that's something a little different than the United States. And if you'd like, anybody in the audience want to hear a little background on the United States and why we have the Electoral College, and why we vote for electors who vote on behalf of their states with the number of electoral votes representing the number of representatives and the number of senators in those states combined. And our third caller in, our blog pal Denise DeSelt. So we're as we get election results, we're hoping we get some calls in from not only Scotty again, perhaps, but those other three folks. Okay, and we've got our first city voting, first city coming in, and that's the city of Dundee. And Dundee, with 93,000 registered voters, and 84% of them voting. The results are in. Dundee has voted yes in favor of independence from Great Britain and in favor of Scotland forming its own country. 93,000 voters. The vote came in, and it's 57% to 43% in favor. So that swings the pendulum quite a bit, because the smaller areas obviously have fewer voters, and they don't have nearly as many voters as a city like Dundee. And that follows our prediction that the more urban areas probably would favor independence, because you have your younger folks in the city, more open to change, as in America. You have the older folks out in the country. No, you're not supposed to call in on that line. We've got a caller in on the Inky Dinky phone, and we're going to have to let that one go because we only want the more substantial callers in. So we'll let that one go to voicemail, and we'll continue with our election coverage. Okay, now we have, here we go, here's a split down the middle. The voting district of Inverclyde. The vote is in. 82% of those that were registered to vote voted. Substantial percentage, as we've seen in all of our districts so far. And the vote is essentially 50-50. It's 51.1% in favor of remaining part of the British Empire, and 49.9% in favor of independence and becoming Scotland becoming its own country. Okay. Well, it's on the Nickelodeon phone. It's on the mid-size phone. Thank you for calling Basil BuddhaCat Presents. And whom do we have the pleasure of conversing with? Okay. Tweety, check this out. Okay, check the number out. Is it? Rotation of the right wing is a big yes. Okay, we have Mel Gibson on the line. And as you know, Mel Gibson, the original Blueface guy, played the character Wallace during a big battle between... No, that's not Mel Gibson making that note. That's apparently one of our callers in on the Inky Dinky phone. Maybe one of your relatives. We may have to find that out later on in the show. Okay, so Mel Gibson. May I presume, or may I not presume, that that you are in fact in favor of Scottish independence? Mel Gibson says it's a guarantee. He guarantees that Scotland will vote in favor of independence, and there's only one thing that could stand in the way of Scotland getting its independence. One. I'm going to quote him, and I'm sure that somewhere along the line in that quote, the censor will find their button and censor it out. Okay, Mel Gibson says the only way it can't pass is a conspiracy by the Jew. Caught it? Thank you. Okay. He goes on to say, take my word for it, anything goes wrong in the world, always blame the Jew. Okay. So did you catch that one? Okay. Snarky and Tweety are on the job. They're doing the necessary censoring of whatever needs to be censored. He hung up. Okay. Well, maybe he'll call back in, and maybe he'll have something more to say during the show. Okay, onward we go with our election coverage of Scotland, to be or not to be a part of the British Empire. Okay, here we go. We've got another couple of this time we have what qualifies as being not one of the larger cities in Scotland, but certainly a city, Edinburgh. And Edinburgh, with 79% of its eligible voters casting votes, has come in at 61% to 39% against Scotland seceding from Great Britain. And 61 to 39. That's a pretty substantial number, and it takes a little of the starch out of our thought that the cities would be more. Okay. Basil says, this is democracy in action, and it is what it is. We don't have any skin in the game personally, Basil nor I. We don't have the flag, or the proposed flag of the new nation of Scotland, should it succeed in seceding. Okay. Tweety. Okay. Even though it's coming in on the Inky Dinky phone, we're going to take this call because Tweety says, once again, it's Mel Gibson, who played Wallace in one of the more famous movies about Scotland and independence. Yes, Mr. Gibson. You notice that we've reported that Edinburgh came in at 61% to 39% against independence. He's I've got to hold the phone a little further out because he's pretty loud about this. Seems to be pretty vociferous about this. But he's saying, it's a juice! It's a juice! Always blame the juice! Did you get that? Did you blip enough of that out? Apparently yes. Good. Okay. Because we wouldn't want anybody to think that Mel Gibson had a prejudiced bone in his body. Certainly not. But okay, so that's it. So we've got some more results coming in, and so far it looks like our overall vote is about 52 to 48% in favor of remaining part of the British Empire. Okay, let's continue to cover, and we'll see where it takes us. Okay, we're actually going to have to come back, I think. Hold on. Okay, this is on the big phone. Thank you for calling Basil BuddhaCat Presents. Oh, okay. It's Robert Burns again. Now we're going to have to take your call on our follow-up show. Okay, so we're going to have to sign off for now, and we're going to come back and do another half hour of Basil BuddhaCat Presents. Screw Fox News. Here comes Cat News. And we'll do a little bit more news besides the Scottish election. Thanks for watching. We shall see you Sunday morning.
They say they'd rob your grandma blind on Wall Street, fritter her away her Medicare on Wall Street, and Pharma Oil and their pet fox don't care if she lives in a box, so long as they wear platinum jocks on Wall Street, Meow.